Ronin.
Welcome to Juice in the Morning, episode 65. We're welcoming you back to the home studio of the Juice in the Morning podcast called The Juice Box. And I have an old friend with me, Thomas Smith. Welcome back to the show, brother. You've been on, I think, 3 to 5 times, maybe? I can't remember the exact number.
Well, you should put that together before you introduce me.
I was like looking back through the history of the show, and I'm pretty sure it was.
And it's pretty blank.
I'm pretty sure it was like 4. I think it was 4, but I wanted to say 5 because
it feels like more. It feels like more because, as I always say, it is the best day of the week.
It was. We had a pretty good run there for a little bit, but you did have some situations with like moving and stuff like that. So I did want to also introduce you as becoming kind of like a new role with the podcast, which is producer Thomas Smith. So welcome to the show, producer Thomas Smith. In his producing capacity, he's going to be lining up guests for the podcast. Tell me some of the guests and people that you've talked to, maybe, and also, give the listeners an idea of kind of the direction we're going to be going for the next couple of weeks.
Well, I'd like it to be going in this direction for the most part, as long as I can keep participating in the show. But we have Ray Goots, who is a New York comedian and connoisseur of sorts. Yeah. And by the way, everybody is going to be introduced as a connoisseur of sorts.
Okay.
No.
A connoisseur of...
we have Jay Snyder. Jay Snyder is actually opening for Donnie Baker.
I love Donnie Baker, by the way.
So he's an opener for Donnie Baker. So it's that kind of humor, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I met him personally, and he's a very nice guy. But he has a lot of really great, he has several hours of great humor.
Yeah.
Tom Dustin is someone else that I met personally, and he agreed to be on the show on July 9th.
Nice. And
he, again, is just a phenomenal comedian. He's been on the road for several years. I just gave Justin his album. I listened to it. It's beautiful. He prefers to do kind of dark, sardonic, dirty humor,
yeah.
I suppose,
yeah.
Which is right up my alley. But when he got on stage, it was beautiful because he did not have a set list.
Yeah,
he was he felt out the crowd and he just kind of played it.
Yeah,
and it was beautiful. So he's going to be a great interview.
That's awesome. So for your taste in comedy, can you appreciate other styles of comedy, or do you kind of just enjoy the stuff that you're into, or are you kind of like somebody who can look at something and be interested in multiple different genres? I guess
I am an absolute blank canvas when it comes to comedy and writing and movies and entertainment in general.
I think that's why
I really am.
I think that's why we get along a lot with that, because people have asked me, like, if they like, you'll see a movie and they're like, did you think that sucked? And I'll be like, yeah, maybe it sucked, but like there was things that I enjoyed about it.
Right.
And I can like, usually I'm very optimistic going into anything artistic.
Right. Like if you go into anything assuming something, and that's a very broad statement, but if you go into anything that is entertainment or literature or whatever it may be, or art, and you assume something, then you're kind of already just screwed. Yeah. Like as soon as you walk in that museum. Because obviously, I could do that. Well, then fucking do it.
Exactly.
You douchebag.
Well, what's hilarious about that is I think I've always equated like, abstract art like that when somebody says, "Oh, I could do that." But can you sell it to somebody as, this is the deep thought that I had about this social situation, and like tie it all together and actually convince somebody that that's what you were going for?
Right. Like, so in 1945, post-war France.
Yeah.
Did you paint a picture?
No, I did not.
And make it into something
Yeah.
that you could sell to someone else
Yeah.
so you could feed your frickin' family?
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
Nope.
And that's how I feel about, like, okay, I hope Ray doesn't listen to this. Ray's been ranting about Nick at Night.
Yeah.
And how, like, it just constantly plays.
Nick at Night is
Well, it used to be a gold mine of, like, great just television. Like, me and my mom used
I Love
to just
Lucy.
sit down. Oh, I love Lucy.
I Dream of Jeannie.
Yeah.
Did they play those, or was it?
Oh, yeah, you're
Nick
talking
at
about
Night-
the right time
is
period.
Nick at Night
we're
changing-
talking about early 90s, late 80s.
Is Nick at Night changing to like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and stuff like that?
They wish that's where Ray wishes that's where they were going. No, but my poor friend Ray. No, it's I don't even want to state his name.
Yeah.
No, it's just bad comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And in fairness to comedians, like, you get to have like 1 or 3 opportunities if you're really successful to have your own television show.
Oh yeah.
So, like, Louis C.K., you know, best case scenario as a stand-up, you have to be a very successful stand-up, because if you're relying on your success to land in television, you're going to get shit on.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the bottom line.
Yeah. And I think right now,
Which is why Ray Liotta never did stand-up.
I don't know if he could pull it off.
Are you kidding me?
But I think that the main thing that I want to get across with this episode is we're going to be interviewing a recording artist named Rose Cora Perry. Her and I, interacted on Twitter, and she messaged me and said, "Hey, I'm interested in your show." And I messaged her back and said, "Hey, would you have maybe 5 or 10 minutes of your time to come on the show, do a call in or something like that?" And it just kind of progressed from there. So we're going to be having her on here in about 10, 15 minutes. But I just wanted to throw it out there that she's done a lot of stuff. And when we talk about Louis C.K. and stuff like that, I know that she's not on that level, obviously, but the fact that she is doing all of the stuff herself, like, and putting out all of this content herself, is very similar in the fact that nowadays with media, you have to have that ability to do everything yourself. Like for this podcast, when I do this podcast, I record it, I edit it, I put it on the internet, I promote it. Like, I don't have other people doing that for me. Eventually, I would like to have some help with it, and that's where Thomas comes in as acting as producer and helping me get some people lined up that you guys would be interested in listening to. So if you're wanting to do anything, I feel like in media nowadays, you have to be kind of like a triple threat or a slash type person where you can be the talent / the producer / the editor and all of that stuff. So if you're interested in doing that kind of stuff, just start doing it and figuring it out, because it takes a while.
Well, and if you're not sure about yourself, feel free to introduce yourself to our show.
Absolutely.
Because we are absolutely just hungry for people that have things to offer, are interesting, have anything to talk about.
Mm-hmm. Because
it's not a motivation of money or anything. We just really want to talk to interesting people
and just curious. Like, that's what I talked about on my last podcast, was the fact that some people have asked me, like, what's your genre of your podcast? And I usually
there is no genre.
I usually just say there's not a genre. It's me just wanting to talk to people, and hopefully that connects with somebody, and then they either follow or start talking to this person or interacting with whoever's on the show, and then spreading the spread of ideas is basically what I'm getting at. And I'm the kind of person, like what you said, blank canvas. I'm going into the conversation with, what do you want to talk about? What's important to you? And I'm 99% of the time completely locked in and interested. That's why a lot of these shows can go way longer than an hour. Like, I mean, for example, the one that I just did was like an hour and 20, because I was just thoroughly interested in somebody talking about being a psychic and a medium and being able to, feel the energy in the world and like kind of read people and things like that. It's just super interesting.
Well, and what do I know about that?
Exactly.
Nothing. I could only just assume to know something.
Same with having my cousin on that's into Dungeons and Dragons. I know absolutely nothing about that, but it is extremely interesting to me to talk to somebody who has that level of knowledge on a subject.
Well, and what's great about our podcast is that we do not. All right, sorry. I should not ever start a sentence by saying what's great about our podcast.
No, I'll let it slide.
I can't. That makes me sound like a shitty person. But again, I will restate what is great about our podcast is that we don't have an agenda.
Yeah,
we literally do not care.
Except for I'm definitely pushing the disregard females acquire currency.
Well,
I take that back. I'm just kidding.
No, I mean I will state my own opinions as they come to me, but it's not anything that I'm not willing to apply myself to as a person. Just listening to someone who is, for instance, maybe a Trump supporter.
You have to go in with an open mind and just hear their points. You can argue it.
Because I have many friends who support Donald Trump, and he is our president, and I accept that.
I mean,
with a questioning voice.
The thing is there's not really anything you can do besides accept it. But also, what you're talking about with having a guest on, you do have to have that open mind and hear what they have to say, because maybe they have information that you've never heard before, or they have a way of putting it that you've never heard.
Well, and Justin, you don't have to support me on this, but I don't consider myself to be the most well-informed person. So if you can convince me of something, I might be riding your pony wagon right after you get off our show, because I have a very complicated mind, as it were, and so I kind of just ride the pony.
There you go.
Ride the pony.
And I think that some of the people we're going to have on are going to have some really interesting views on things, especially with you talking with comedians. From all the shows that I listen to, all the people that I've followed, comedians have some of the most twisted thoughts about stuff. Not in a bad way, like just weird thoughts, because that's what they're like. For example,
they're paid to do it.
I've talked about how I have my deep thought of the week, and I just will focus on a subject for 20, 30 minutes and think really deeply about it. I couldn't imagine doing that almost all the time.
Right.
Literally all the time. I might go a little crazy if I do that. And that's
why we spend so much time apart sometimes, is because that's my life. I focus on these really dark and specific thoughts, and I'm trying to base my career off of it.
Yeah.
And that I have so much respect for yourself and
I appreciate
our friend Joel.
Yeah.
But you're a phlebotomist. You have a career.
Yep.
Joel has a career.
Yep.
I have a career too. It's just it's a wild and weird struggle sometimes.
Yeah.
And the most frustrating part is that nobody I'm sure they did, but Vladimir Nabokov didn't get jerked around, and hey man, get it together. You should be just working at this frickin' you should get a job at a gas station.
And
it's like, fuck you. I'm Vladimir Nabokov.
Well, there was a little bit, I think, a little bit more freedom and things like that. But we're getting ready to do our interview because we're supposed to call her at 1:00. So I'm going to go ahead and take a small break really quick and get all the stuff set up.
Me.
All right. Thank you for joining us today. We've got Rose Cora Perry on the phone. And once again, Rose, thank you for joining the podcast. I couldn't thank you enough, because what was it that you had going on yesterday?
So in Canada, where I'm from, it was kind of a big deal, like just a little bit. We're celebrating Canada 150. So we headlined a big show down in Shelburne, Ontario, population 6,500, and you best be believing that pretty much everybody was there as a consequence. And it was pretty damn rock and roll to, go on right before fireworks. Like, the fireworks weren't shooting out at the stage, obviously, because, that would be awesome. But they did shoot off from a hill over yonder, just from where the stage was set up. So it was pretty cool to be able to do that. And, I mean, very, very friendly folks, and it was an awesome turnout, lots of fun, and obviously in Canada, kind of a big deal. There were amazing events going on all this week and last week too, building up to the big Canada Day thing. So it was cool to be able to be a part of that.
Yeah, here in the United States, we've got a big day coming up too. It's the 4th of July, so we're also going to be celebrating pretty heavily.
Yeah, so I mean, for you guys being just America's hat. I'm sorry. I had to get that one. I had to get that one in, and if I didn't get it in early, I would not know if you were cool or not.
No, we're America's toque. If you're going to call us any kind of hat, we at least have to be given the proper term.
There you go.
Come on now.
All right. I'll bite.
And so, just to give the listeners a background, I connected with Rose through Twitter, and she has an upcoming performance at Summer NAMM in Nashville. How did you get involved with the performance in Nashville?
So it's actually one of those tales that goes to show you that the myth of the overnight success is exactly what I just called it, a myth, in that I need to say this for independent musicians listening everywhere. I mean, if you want to be successful to any degree in this music industry, you need to work your ass off, and you need to do it consistently, and, always put yourself out there, always look for opportunities. So back when I was about 15 years old, in my very, very first all-girl band, I heard about this company named Daisy Rock Guitars, which had no Canadian distribution at this point, was just kind of getting going. And I heard about them because I was new to playing guitar at that point, and, trying to swing around a Gibson SG, it was heavy as hell. And I'm like, for a petite woman like me, I'm 5'4", like 105 pounds, slugging that thing on my shoulder for an hour-long set. Honestly, like, my shoulder, it was causing me pain.
Oh, I'm sure.
As a consequence, it was debilitating to playing, which is obviously not very good for having a good performance or being able to be really into it. So I was trying to look into alternative options in terms of a good guitar to play. I came across this company that specializes in making lightweight guitars where the frets are closer together. Yeah. They're easy to play, and they're specifically designed for females. I'm like, wow, well, what a revolutionary idea. Yeah. And I contacted them out of nowhere and said, how would you feel about, giving me a sponsorship? And so, as it were, I became Canada's very first sponsored guitarist by Daisy Rock Guitars.
That's awesome.
Fast forward 15 years later, I find out that they're exhibiting at this year's Summer NAMM, and they asked me if I wanted to come down and showcase and represent the brand. And I'm like, heck yes. Yeah. I would be honored. So, I mean, it was like a 14-year-long relationship that I've had, and I've happily promoted and been a part of the Daisy Rock family because I just love their instruments, and the founder of the company is just such a wonderful woman. And I mean, you never know what's going to end up benefiting you in the future, or what connection you're going to have that's going to come in turn and turn around something else. But as I said, the myth of the overnight success, just from that story alone, should be shattered. Yeah. I mean, it's about establishing relationships, networking, and, really just being grateful for all the people that were willing to give you an opportunity before anyone else was.
Yeah, I looked up the Summer NAMM thing, and there's a lot of information. Like, I might even try to at least attend it or something, because they have stuff on just building your brand and things like that. So it's definitely interesting. I haven't really seen anything like that in the Midwest area. So we need to get something put together like that here.
Oh, for sure. So there's two versions of NAMM that take place every year. There's one that occurs in California, and Richie Sambora, my favorite guitarist of all time, formerly of Bon Jovi. Why he quit, I'm not even going to get into. I don't know, but he shouldn't have. He performed at the California version, so that's pretty incredible.
Yeah, oh my
and
gosh.
to say that we're performing at the same sister event in Nashville, like, as I'm sure you can appreciate, I'm pretty honored. And I also found out the other day that Patti Smith, one of the queens of punk rock, is apparently going to be there being honored, and I'm like, holy crap! So,
and you'll be definitely trying to meet her, right?
Oh, obviously. So in addition to, all the amazing educational information that they have going on, like they've got seminars throughout, they've got performances throughout, then they also have a whole bunch of new product demos, because really the crux of what NAMM is all about is about informing consumers as well as sponsored artists and the media about new revolutions in technology and new musical kind of innovations in terms of being a better player and whatnot that have come to the market that they're trying to showcase. So it's a really, really fabulous event. And as I said, we're really honored to be taking part. And on top of that, even more honored because the Canadian government decided to sponsor our way with a travel grant.
Well, there you go.
That's pretty awesome.
That's
too.
awesome.
Yeah. So it was a double win there.
and so just to get us a little bit more information about yourself, like what are some of your inspirations for music? Because I know that's kind of like a cliche question, but it's always an important question. I feel like.
I mean, you clearly hate Neil Young, and you've already shitted on Bruce Springsteen. So.
Well, I don't hate Neil Young nor
I'm just
Mr.
playing.
Springsteen, the boss.
He is the boss.
I've heard he is the boss. He's no Tony Danza, but he is Bruce Springsteen. Sorry,
Tony
that was really
Danza.
Lame. Totally lame. I'm really tired. Give me some allowance here. So, I am first and foremost a 90s kid, so I was raised during the greatest era of rock and roll ever, obviously.
Oh, yeah. I'm getting ready to see
Neil
Third Eye.
Young says differently.
I'm getting ready to see Third Eye Blind.
May say differently. However, even Kurt Cobain respected Neil Young, so I just booyah'd right there.
But did Neil Young respect Kurt Cobain?
No,
I'm not sure if they were contemporaries enough for Neil Young to be able to comment on that, but David Bowie certainly respected Nirvana.
Death and Suicide kind of.
But,
if we're going to get technical. Anyway.
Justin was going to say he's about to go see
I'm getting ready to see
Blind.
Third Eye Blind, which is one of my favorite 90s bands of all time. And they're playing in Indianapolis next weekend. So I'm super pumped about that.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, obviously, I think it goes without saying everybody's pretty partial to the music that they grew up listening to, right? Because you get that feeling of nostalgia. And so in addition to the 90s stuff that I was, raised on that I absolutely adore, I also adore the stuff that my dad raised me on. So he was a big rock and roller. And a lot of Aerosmith, a lot of Bon Jovi, a lot of Metallica Black Album.
Gotta love Metallica.
Joan Jett, Pat Benatar. So I was raised on these awesome rock and roll classics.
Stop the record. I love Pat Benatar.
Thank you.
I freak out when I hear Pat Benatar. I do an unnatural head bang every time I hear Pat Benatar.
All right.
Okay, seriously, she's a badass.
No,
girl.
I'm not kidding. I'm not. I'm making a joke of
it,
but I'm being serious.
But
yeah. She can sing for sure.
So you would say those that you listed are kind of your inspirations for what you do as well, right?
Well, I'm kind of a mixed bag in that. So I was raised on like this hard rock from my dad's influence, and then my mom was really into kind of dance music because at the time when I was being raised, she was an aerobics instructor. So I heard a lot of like
that's awesome.
Madonna.
I literally did a spit take.
That's great.
It's true. So I heard like a lot of Madonna and things like Jamiroquai, when I was growing up too. And it's catchy shit.
Oh yeah, it is.
Let's be honest.
I used to jam to it.
Damn right you did. Tell me, like, Virtual Insanity still remains one of the best music videos ever made in any decade. True story.
Yes.
It's awesome with the room spinning around and all of JK's awesome dance moves. Yep. Like, for real, that is a great music video.
Yeah.
You know what? That music video reminds me of, and it was a ripoff. It was I'm a bitch. I'm a lover. I'm a child. I'm a mother. But she literally just sat there reading a book, and the camera spun around the room. Remember that music video? Do you remember that?
In all fairness, I mean, JK's video and like performance and that whole thing was so well done. I can't really blame her because we're talking about it like 20 years later. It's still such an awesome
no, I'm not
video.
saying like a bad thing about it.
So once again, back to I feel
Are you
like
having fun?
I feel like I keep getting thrown off with my question. So you've given
my influence.
Yeah, you've given me a lot with the influences, and I like it. So what I also was reading on your website, you do a lot of stuff, and we talked about this before we actually did the interview with you, which is kind of in today's media world, you have to be kind of like a triple threat slash person. So basically, like, you are the recording artist, you edit it, you do the videography, you do the social media, and I think it's almost required to do that. So I noticed by reading your website, you do literally all of those things. So how much spare time do you really get, if any?
Not much. And I mean, the reality is that especially in the day and age of social media, everything new gets old super quickly.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I personally have major issues with that because a record being out for 6 months is still new, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But to today's standards, that's considered old news. Whereas, in the era that I was growing up, it was completely normal to have 6, 7, 8 years between albums. Mm-hmm. And, it allowed the artist to really mature and evolve and ensure that only their best material was making the albums. And why do you think that fewer people buy albums anymore as opposed to just singles? It's because albums overall have declined in quality because we're expecting people to be able to be hit makers every second of every day. And it's just not possible.
Yeah.
Music needs to grow and develop and evolve. And that's how you get better at songwriting.
Yeah.
By listening to different things and having different challenges and experiences. And I spent 4 years putting together my last album, and I have absolutely no regrets about doing it because it allowed me to really focus in on the material I wanted to put on it.
And I really appreciate the the video trilogy that you did with those 3 songs. Was that from the last album? Just before I go into my next point.
Yeah, that's all from my brand new album. So
Okay.
I just released that November 2016, and I wanted to do, kind of a narrative in terms of where some of the inspiration came from. So it was based on true events from my own life.
Yeah.
And the him character was a real guy, not a very nice one, as you can see. And that's actually the drummer in my live duo, The Truth Untold. So we wanted to kind of play with that little reality there, showcase the band as well as, showcase kind of the inspiration behind the music.
Yeah, and that's what I was, we were talking about before as well, or what you had mentioned already was I and something that I miss in music and albums is that story, and having almost like a narrative through the album. Like, you start at song 1 and you end at song 10, and you've gone on this almost roller coaster ride of emotion and things like that. And that just doesn't exist a whole lot with this social media culture that we are in now.
Absolutely. And I really, really think it's a disservice to both the listening audience as well as musicians, because, I mean, an awesome album has that amazing transformative experience where it just takes you on this journey and you really understand that artist and you can relate to them on a different level and be like, dude, I totally get what you're going through when I listen to that song. And that's such a powerful thing. And that's why I do music, because I want to be able to just share those universal experiences, right? And so not allowing artists to really mature and take their time as opposed to just forcing them to be, 30-second hit makers, I don't think it's fair to anybody. I don't think that audiences are getting very good music, which speaks for itself. I don't listen to the radio more, and I haven't in about 10 years because there's nothing worth listening to.
Exactly.
Just being honest.
Well, you do live in Canada, so
I don't know what the radio station scene is.
I don't know what
there.
it sounds like, but I'm just assuming it's terrible.
I will totally tell you that, anytime I have toured to the States, American radio stations are pretty awesome.
It's what inspired me to do the podcast, because I just love, my dream was to be on the radio, but full-time jobs and normal life careers get in the way of actually chasing those dreams. But by having this podcast, I can still kind of pursue that, and hopefully it grows into something where I can do it full time instead of just doing it every Sunday.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? All dreams start with just an idea, and all you have to do is pursue that. And I mean, I was a little twerp at 4 years old singing for the very first time on stage.
I still can't believe that at 4 years old that you were performing. Like, that's insane to think about. I can't even remember what I was doing.
I was performing when I was 4 years old, but I was just telling dirty jokes to my grandpa.
That sounds about right. Somehow I kind of saw that coming.
Oh, you did? Yeah.
Yeah. You just struck me as that kind of person. I mean, with these whole mentions of, Neil Young and whatnot.
You nailed it.
Yeah,
that
doesn't surprise me.
So Thomas has a couple of questions as well, and then we'll get to the last couple things that I want to get to, and I appreciate your time. So go ahead, Thomas.
I just wanted to hang and. These questions are going to be answered
likes the silence.
In triplicate.
Oh, okay.
I'm just kidding. So, like you were saying, and what I've noticed, because I actually got my start writing comedy by becoming a part of Twitter.
Nice.
And so I just got a bunch of fans and like-minded comedians and stuff like that, and that's kind of where my life has led me to this point, from like 2009.
Mm-hmm.
And so I understand like the idea behind like it sucks that you write something that could be potentially a beautiful thing, but it gets considered old news after like fucking like 3 months.
Yeah. 5 minutes.
It's even that. Yeah,
and
it is.
It's even worse on Twitter or for jokes because people steal that shit and there's no I'm serious. Yeah, and I mean there's no payback for it. And so
and we also live in this kind of mindset now too with the whole thing of Twitter where everybody kind of feels like they're entitled to like people posting their daily grocery list or what they cooked, and they're supposed to have like 1,000 Instagram or Twitter followers because they've decided that they're a self-professed expert. And I'm sorry, but like I know I'm going to come across as old school, but if you're not actually an accredited expert, I don't think you should be doling out advice.
Exactly.
I think that it contributes to a society of ignorance and propaganda, and it's only causing problems as opposed to solutions.
Yeah.
And I think it's awesome to be able to connect with people and celebrate the things that you love, and that's all wonderful. But don't try to profess to be an expert, and don't think that you're fucking special unless you actually have a talent. Because not everybody is freaking talented. We all have different gifts to offer,
Absolutely.
and I totally respect that. But not everybody is, designed to be an entertainer or a celebrity. And I think that we really have a narcissistic mentality anymore because of things like Twitter.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm kind of anti-social media.
No. Let me jump in real quick. Well, actually, not real quick because you kind of just ran over my entire conversation.
I
get it.
That's okay.
You have a lot on your mind. I get it.
You got a lot out there though that I like. It got real. We got real with Rose over here.
You're very well spoken, Rose. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
No, I'm not just blowing smoke up your skirt like Marilyn Monroe on a subway. No, I was going to say, Patton Oswalt said that I just watched this like really articulate YouTube video, as it were. Yeah. My information comes from YouTube these days. Jon Stewart retired, so what the hell else am I supposed to do? No, but it was about comedy and copyrights and stuff like that, and so what Patton Oswalt said was that everyone thinks that they have the right to be funny, and it's not fucking true.
Yeah.
No, not everybody has the right to. I mean, you've been singing since you were 4 years old.
Exactly.
That's
so how do you think I
That's
feel?
a special thing. Why would someone take that away from you? And it's bullshit. I've been funny since I was a child. I've been the funniest person.
I'll be the judge of that.
Justin can shut his damn mouth if he knows what's good for him. He's twice my size, and I'm in his home.
No, but it's totally true. Like,
that's the truth, Like, not everybody has that right. It's bullshit if they think they do, but all these arrogant bastards just assume, oh, I can be pretty like Rose, or I can sing like Rose, and I can just rip this off because it's something everybody can do, and that's not the case.
Absolutely.
I think it's because we have technology that allows everybody to do it, but just because you can does not mean you should.
Absolutely. It makes you a shitty person.
And I mean, especially as a singer who's classically trained, like, I'm not saying I've got perfect pitch and I'm awesome all the time, 100%. I mean, I've got to be in good voice. I've got to be well rested. I've got to be hydrated. These are all things that go into taking care of your body as a vocalist.
Yep.
However, I've worked very hard at my craft, and you have to understand how fucking, I'm sorry, but
no, go ahead. This is my podcast. You can say whatever you want.
We rely on stuff like auto-tune, and it's so normalized that nobody even turns their head to it.
Yeah.
If you need auto-tune, don't freaking call yourself a singer and don't make a record.
It
is insulting to people who have actually really worked at their craft and deserve to be acclaimed up there with the fellow musicians.
You're so very right.
And I sound like so old saying this
no,
stuff,
you're,
but it's infuriating.
You're extremely correct, and I agree with you on so many levels.
You wouldn't be a guest on our show unless we got you infuriated.
Well, it's not you guys. It's just like you totally get what I'm saying, right?
Yep.
And it's
Absolutely.
just like, if you have not actually studied your craft and put work into it, and you just decide one day, well, I can have a Twitter or YouTube account, so I'm going to be an expert at giving health advice.
Yeah.
You have no qualifications. You really shouldn't be doing that. Just because you can does not mean you should.
Yeah.
Well, and that makes them an absolute freaking dildo.
Yeah. So so I've got a couple more things that I want to get to before we were done.
I guess I had to toss dildo into
you want
the
to
conversation.
stop ranting?
No, you're good. But I did want to get a little bit more.
Let's all deep breath it, and Justin's going to ask some professional questions.
Since
now that you've gotten me mad and all fired up, right?
Hey, Rose, it's okay.
Yeah, since
we love you.
It's gonna be okay, right?
Yep, absolutely.
We're
going to spread this message.
It's not going to be okay, but we'll do this anyway.
Canadians are not always polite.
Exactly.
Evidently, you're shitty people. I mean, just like I always assumed.
So okay, all right. Let's get it back on the tracks. Since you're involved in all of these different things that you do with the social media and the graphic design and all of the stuff from your website, what do you get the most satisfaction from? Is it the music, or is it the acting, or do you like the behind the scenes stuff the most? What is it that you're into the most?
The only thing that I truly would love to be able to do with my life is be on stage and just connect with people through the power of performing and just singing my little heart out and seeing them really enjoy it and just take a piece of myself with them, because they've truly experienced that musical experience, not through a cell phone lens, not through, a camera, but they've been there present and they've been able to take it in the way that music should be enjoyed. That's what I live for doing.
I have an idea for like a product that a band can like take to their concert, and it will literally like send out an EMP and shut down everybody's social like all their devices, so that they can't just sit there and like videotape it the whole time, because you're not experiencing the actual concert when you do that. Like you're literally you're looking at it through a screen, so you're not actually involved in it, and you're not actually making the memory. You're going back and looking at that memory later, and you don't actually even get that deep down feeling in your like heart that you're like, oh man, that was a great performance. I really liked it when they changed this song up just a little bit in this area. They're literally not even seeing that because it's just getting stored on the cloud somewhere.
I couldn't have possibly articulated it better myself. Like, as I said, I'm old school. When I go and see some of my favorite bands perform, I want to be present with all my faculties, just taking it in and being like, wow, that was magical. And I'm not just saying this as a musician, but I'm saying this as, an art lover. Anytime I experience something like that, whether, it's somebody doing a speech or, watching a movie or, going to see a play on stage, anything like that, that's this beautiful cultural and intellectual and spiritual and emotional experience. I want to be fully there.
Yep.
It's great to have memories to look back onto, and I get that people like to snap photos and whatnot. But watching an entire concert through a freaking lens on a phone or a camera,
an iPad.
Why don't you just watch it on TV then?
Yeah.
Like, you're not getting that full experience out of it. And I think that's also something that has contributed to people not going to concerts in person anymore. They're like, oh, I'll just watch it on YouTube later.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't really support your artistic community, because if fewer people come out to concerts, guess what?
You're not going to have
prices go up.
Well, and to go back to, this is Thomas, by the way. Everybody who's listening, this is Thomas, so you know that I don't have that deep, sultry, sexy voice that Justin has. It's a high-pitched sort of Charlie Day. I just want to be a part of this podcast. That's my singing voice. No, I do impressions. No, but it's something else that Patton Oswalt said, where if people are recording stuff at his stand-up shows, well, that's his fucking written material. That's like them literally stealing money out of his pocket, because they're going to post it on YouTube, and then he doesn't have it to put in his goddamn special or to go to Caroline's or the Comedy Store or wherever.
And that's exactly it. And I mean, from a musician stance too, I mean, the problem is that you can be up there rocking your little freaking heart out, but oftentimes technical difficulties happen too. And I'm certainly not at the point in my career where I have like 20 stagehands grabbing my differently tuned guitar for me. So I'm honestly at the mercy of whoever's doing my sound that night. So let's say, for example, I'm putting on the best show that I can possibly do, but the sound person is completely incompetent,
and you sound like shit.
Decides to, as a consequence, it has nothing to do with me, but ultimately you are at the mercy of who's running the soundboard. So somebody decides to record that, put that up, and then 20 people decide, oh wow, she really sucks live, I'll never go see her as a result.
And not only
that's
do they
doing me a disservice.
Yeah, well, not only did they do that, but they post it on YouTube and Facebook or wherever the fuck it goes, and it's spread around. It's like wildfire.
So my last thing that I wanted to ask is, what are some of your future goals? Because it seems like you've kind of like I said, I read through your bio, and it's like every year you've like accomplished something or done something different, literally since like the age of 8 or something like that. There was something new or different every year.
So Janis Joplin, where are you going to be when you turn into Tony Danza?
Well, I guess the point is that I've always maintained the philosophy in life that if there's something that you want to do, the only person holding yourself back is you. So, I've wanted to try my hand at musical theater. I've wanted to try my hand at hosting television shows. I've wanted to try my hand at writing columns, being a musician, doing all these different things. I'm not saying I'm amazing at everything that I try, but damn it, I don't want to live a life in regret. I want to know that whatever was in my heart and soul that I felt inspired to do, I gave it a go and I tried my best at it. So in terms of what the future holds, as I said, music remains my number one love in life, and I live for nothing more than being on stage. Like, it's such an incredible experience, and it could be equally incredible for audience members if they would put those damn cell phones away and just take it in the way that it's meant to be.
Exactly.
And so I'm truly hopeful that I will get to a place in my career where I can be able just to go up there and just perform and give people an amazing show and not have to worry about technical difficulties or anything, and just rock. But you never know what the future holds, and I will say that first and foremost, I'm absolutely grateful and honored for everything that I've had come my way and everything that I've worked hard for. So we'll see what happens, right? Okay. You never know.
Absolutely. And I am so thankful for you taking time to do the show.
Absolutely.
It's great. And, the show isn't super large yet. I mean, I'm working on it, and it's growing pretty much every month and every week. and every day. But having you on is a very important thing for us, and it's I hope it helps with you some way or another. So go ahead and
I'll spread the word. And what we can do, and as a producer on the podcast, what we can do is, if you stay in contact with us, we can. I'm having on a lot of very popular comedians that are nationally popular.
Yeah.
Nice.
And actors and musicians and stuff. So if you send us your information, your tour dates, or whatever it is you're doing, we can promote that.
Yep.
We're going to create a section of the show where we just rattle off promotions.
Yeah.
And they're going to be from guests that we have had.
Yeah.
And you seem like a really promising musician. That sounded insulting, didn't it? You're very promising. Thanks for doing our tiny podcast. I'm sure you'll get there one day, little kid. I felt like I should have just chucked you on the jaw a little bit and just, go out there and be somebody, Rose.
So
I'm sorry, that was, but no.
So
that was amazing.
Thank you.
I knew what you meant. I didn't take it that way at all.
But I insulted
honestly,
myself anyway.
And hey, you know what? The best kind of comedy is self-deprecating, so that's probably a good thing.
I love it.
But no, for sure. We'll absolutely stay in touch. And, any opportunity is a good opportunity as far as I'm concerned, no matter how big, nor matter how small. You never know what something is going to lead to, and you never know what one connection is going to lead to, too. So,
no, we're going to be huge.
We are. It's going to happen.
Hey, if you want to do it, absolutely you will be. You just have to set your mind to it and keep working on it. Honestly, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, you're absolutely
sleep with the right people, but I don't encourage that.
All right. So, Rose, where can people find you online?
So the easiest thing to do if you want to connect with me on all that social media, even though I've clearly indicated that I despise it, I will respond.
Yes.
I always respond, and I try to be friendly and Canadian.
Yeah.
The easiest way is just to go to my official website, which is www.rose, R-O-S-E, like the flower, Cora, C-O-R-A, and then Perry, like Joe Perry from Aerosmith.com.
Yep.
And all my social media links like Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and all that jazz is up there.
Yep, and I'll throw it out there. It's a good website, and it's very easy to navigate everything.
Thank you. Made it myself. It's always, I'm always happy to entertain questions and musical debates and all that stuff, and
awesome.
Always happy to connect with people. So yeah, just go to my website and you can find out everything you need to know there.
Awesome. Thank you again for being on, and we'll stay in touch and try to get you on at another time. Maybe get you in actually the studio, even though it's just in my house in a spare bedroom.
Hey, that would be cool. Just don't, pull any creepo moves on my drummer. He is a very attractive man, so I might have to hold you back.
Now I'm insulted.
Now I'm intrigued. But once again, thank you for coming on, Rose. We appreciate it.
I'm a married man, Rosa.
Hey, that doesn't mean anything.
Oh, wow. Now I can't let her listen to this podcast.
Okay, I'll take that one back. That was maybe a little bit below the belt.
It's okay.
I'm just kidding.
No, you did.
I'm not officially married.
You did.
Justin, get me out of here. I'm losing it.
You did, Rose. You did a fantastic job.
Yes,
I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
And
thank you for having me. I really, really appreciate it. And thank you for tolerating my bizarre sense of humor.
No, it was awesome.
You're beautiful. You were great. You were great.
Yeah, and we'll definitely. I'm going to post this episode. My episodes go up on Monday, so I'll send you the links so that you can definitely listen to it.
Yeah, and post them to your fans.
Perfect. Thank you guys so much. And have a great rest of your weekend, and happy Independence Day coming up. I actually neglected to mention I have played a 4th of July show, and you guys celebrate it up there like badass.
Hell,
it's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
America,
it's unnecessarily badass.
No, like
how many hot dogs can you eat before you puke while watching a firecracker explode?
Okay, seriously, you take patriotism to a whole nother level. So, I truly appreciate the 4th of July. Like, it's an insane event.
Yep. Yeah. But once again, thank you, and we'll stay in touch, okay?
All right, sounds good.
Thank you.
Bye, Rose.
Bye.
That was Rose Cora Perry. And once again, you can find her on YouTube, all the social media, Facebook, Twitter, and all that. And we're going to go ahead and take a quick little break and come back for the second half of the podcast that will also be on the Facebook Live. Welcome back to the podcast. That was such a great interview. I appreciate Rose Cora Perry taking time out of her day after staying up until 4 a.m. performing at a Canada Day festival and joining us on the podcast. So thanks again for doing that. Also, I wanted to throw out there that we are working on putting together a social media / podcast / bar crawl in Broad Ripple. And we're working on getting that done sometime, I want to say in August. Like I can't remember if it was the beginning or end, but once we get all the details together, I'm going to share it with you guys, and that way you can hopefully join us out at with the Ripple Ride Tour. So I wanted to give a shout out as well to the Smugcast. They're the guys that we're working with together and trying to put this into motion. So, once again, thanks guys for mentioning me on your show, and I appreciate all the back and forth that we're having, discussing podcasting, discussing this local brand that we're trying to build here in Indianapolis. So I wanted to give you guys a shout out. Also, Ripple Ride Tours in Broad Ripple. That's the person that I'm going to be working with trying to set this live thing up. So if you guys are interested in traveling around Broad Ripple and getting drunk off your ass, definitely give him a call, because it is a fucking blast. I'm not lying about that in any way. I'm not blowing smoke in any way. I had probably one of my best times ever in the beginning of this spring / summer doing that. So,
oh, believe me, he talked about it until he was fucking bloody in the mouth. I tell you what, it's bullshit.
But those things are coming, and we're gonna go ahead and talk about a couple other things. So you said yesterday was the anniversary of what?
It was, and I will tell you over and over again. It was 1 year yesterday that I was struck by a car.
I still can't believe that.
I was struck, Justin. I was struck. The old man hit me, and I believe this is how
sound
his
like an
voice
old man
sounded.
Right now.
His voice was crackling over the top of his small steering wheel, over his clunk, 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 clunk of my bones.
Did you ever figure out who it was?
Oh, I know that motherfucker. Oh, yeah.
You know
we are in
at.
high litigation. Yes, a year ago yesterday, July 1st, it was sang into the air that my shin bone was struck.
So Canada Day is actually like a super negative for you then.
I've openly despised Canada for my entire life. I'm sorry, Rose.
I have nothing against
Rose,
Canada.
I apologize, but you are an asshat.
No, you're not.
I'm kidding.
Get the hell out of here.
Kidding.
Don't make me come across this table.
She knows I'm joking.
Yeah, she does have that kind of personality too, which is awesome.
She was very nice.
And also, so you went through a lot of recovery from it, and how are you feeling now? Does it still affect you, leg wise?
It's never not going to affect me.
It's kind of like when I got shot in the leg.
Well, except I'm still friends with the old man.
I don't think you are friends with that guy. That's all I'm saying.
But why lie when I can have a joke?
That's good. I like that.
Thank you.
Hey, we're getting some likes and some hearts on the Facebook Live. I can see it from here. I've got pretty bad eyesight, but I can at least see that.
Hey, and what can I tell you about this sort of stuff?
What's the deal with writing on
What's the deal with airline food? I mean, come on.
For those listening, because he's playing to the Facebook Live audience, he was grabbing the microphone and pulling a Jerry Seinfeld impersonation, I believe.
I believe.
So
it wasn't believable enough, so I have to tell you that I believe.
I think that it's good to see you walking around though. You seem a lot healthier.
Okay, so to get into the brass tacks of it, it was the most pain I'd ever been through as a person in my entire life.
Yeah.
And that's saying something coming from me.
Yeah.
Because
you got beat up by your brothers a lot.
Well, I was going to start out a little more vicious. At 4 years old, I was bitten in the face by a dog and nearly lost my eye.
That's a little bit worse.
Before I was 5 years old, I had over 50 stitches in my head and face. just from slip and falls and shit like that. My parents are good people. They did not. They did not.
You definitely didn't. You didn't. Yeah, you didn't get the balance gene. I mean,
Oh no, I have uncanny balance. I just have the best luck, also. But I'd never broken a bone.
Yeah.
And what happened was I've
only broken small bones.
I was crossing the street going to see my girlfriend at her bar and grill, and well, whatever.
He didn't look both ways.
I did. I did, actually. This old man who was 81 years old didn't have his lights on.
Oh, shit.
And there was no crossing signal.
It had to have been an older car because lights come on automatically on your cars now.
Unless you're old. You can figure that out if you're old. Anyway, this 81-year-old man plowed into me, and it snapped my leg just below my right knee.
Jesus.
And Brooke still remembers it, my fiance, and she was like, people came running into the restaurant saying, "Oh my God, there's a young man out in the street, and he's just laying there." And she said, "That has to be Thomas."
That's her first thought.
Yeah, because that's kind of how I live my life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if there was an alligator attack in front of the restaurant, she would have been like, "Oh, that alligator must have attacked Thomas."
And you must have done something to bring the alligator to
I would have somehow coerced the alligator into a situation where it was snarling at me in the street. And it would have been wrestling my legs.
Going into the death roll.
And I made it wander off. I did.
And then your hand ends up in his belly, and now you've turned into Captain Hook. But anyways, you do, like I said, you do look healthy. You look better. You look like you don't look like your leg is affecting you nearly as much as it used to.
It is intact.
Because I remember you were walking around with a cane.
The first time I did a podcast with you.
in this house, yes, absolutely.
Well, the first time you drove over to my house at Chatterley, I had to greet you
with a walker. I'm sorry.
I was rotating my shoulders in a walker like since.
So people listening, interact with the show. I want to hear some of your possible stories of being hit by moving vehicles. I think that would be interesting. And those watching on the Facebook Live, have you ever been hit by a car? And did you look both ways before you crossed the street?
And are you a fan of mustache riding?
You kind of shaved it off a little bit. I think your hair is at the length that I like it, though. No homo there.
Please don't say no homo. My brother's a homo.
Nothing against it. I'm just giving you a compliment. But anyways.
Alex, I think Justin's gross.
No.
I'm kidding.
Anyways, we haven't seen each other in a while. Once again, just so you guys know out there, Thomas is going to be doing some work for the podcast by lining up some guests. He's taking on I consider it a producer role. I don't even know if that's correct. I think a producer kind of does, a jack of all trades type,
You question me again in this, and I swear to God, I will cut your throat live on air. No. What I'm going to be trying to do is line up guests and trying to set up interviews and do pre-interview stuff for this show because I love the show and I want to be a part of it as much as I possibly can.
And Thomas did send me a text that said, thank you for trusting me. And I sent him something back like, thank you for doing it because I'm not paying you anything to do it. It's definitely a win-win for me no matter what because I'm not you are expending energy to do something to help the show and I'm really not giving you a whole lot back besides having you join me on the show. So I think that it's a great thing for you because you get the opportunity to tell people that you're a part of this, and then that way you can get into your field that you want to get into because you've always been a huge fan of stand-up comedy, and I think you've always wanted to do stand-up comedy, correct?
Well, look at it from my point of view. I have a guy working for me that I'm not paying. Either way, it's a win. If you don't succeed, it's okay. Now, when you're at the big time and rolling the dough, I might be holding the axe over your head. But for now, you're good. LOL. With a sideways smiley face. He didn't even give me a serious smiley face. That's what Justin sent me. I'm going to read that twice.
I don't do emojis. I don't do them.
Well, look at it from my point. No, I won't.
I think that's a completely honest way to look at it. No. Because
it was a shitty way to say it, but it's an honest way to look.
I don't think it was shitty.
I'm leaving this interview.
I think that
I knew what you were saying.
You knew what I was getting at.
I know what you were saying.
Because I think that you do have that opportunity to do that stuff, and that helps me, and that helps us both. Like, I mean, it's a win-win for both of us, and I don't think there's any risk. It's if you're making a bet on something and you have no risk, you're going to take that bet every time.
Well, and I have more benefit than you do, honestly.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say more. I would say different.
Yeah. Okay.
Different opportunity.
A different, but yeah, you're right.
Because for me, it's just
neither one of us have anything to lose.
Yeah, it's just going to grow the show.
We're both at the same point in whatever it is we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, and I'm trying to. I started the YouTube channel. I want us to do videos. I want us to do some just like, if we just want to do something funny, like make a skit or something and do a video of it and put it on the YouTube channel. Which
is a long time.
That's what I want to do.
We haven't done this yet.
And,
why?
And we've talked about it for a long time. So we need to do it. It's going to happen. But once again, like some of the people, you've already mentioned them a little bit on the podcast, but I think it's going to be big for the show because having people that are as enthusiastic as such as like Rose Cora Perry, like, she had a great interview. She was hilarious and fun, and it was just a blast. And I think that the listeners will appreciate talking to people and seeing that side of people instead of just seeing them at a show. They're going to see some like little bit more, I think like deeper thoughts, because that's one of my favorite things to talk about are the things that we think about, when we're maybe in the shower or something like that, Well,
as much as I like to think about you in the shower, Justin, what I would like to promote right now is starting July 9th, we're going to have comedian Tom Dustin.
I can't wait.
Who has been at Crackers Comedy Club, and he's a very popular comedian. He was followed by Jay Snyder, who is going to open for
Donnie Baker.
I
swear to God. Or it's not I swear to God. Swear to God, man. Or something like that. I'm butchering that. I apologize.
It's all right. We love Donnie Baker. We're all from Indiana. But he'll be here. He'll be on our show July 23rd. And Ray Goots, a New York City comedian, will be on our show July 16th. And we'll be promoting their shows, their upcoming events.
And just having some good conversations with them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But leading up to them being on the show, we're going to keep promoting them.
Yep. And so to kind of wrap it up, man, I think that we've hit about an hour, and I appreciate you coming back on. It's always a pleasure to have you on. I think you bring a different vibe to the show that I don't. So I always appreciate having you. I always appreciate having you on. And I hope everybody else enjoys it as well. So
can I jump in?
Yeah.
I just want to say this has been extremely. It's been extremely nice to be back on the show, and I nearly lost my leg.
Yeah.
like a year ago today, and I just want to say, to quote Jerry Maguire, I love my life. And I love my wife.
There you go.
And every morning when I wake up, I clap my hands together and I say it's going to be a good day.
That's good. Should be motivational for people out there.
Or not. Good night.
So, you obviously know where to find this show on Facebook. It's facebook.com/juiceinthemorning. YouTube, I'm on there now. You can listen to the show there, as if you don't like to go get your podcasts at like iTunes or the million other ways you can get your podcast. You can listen to it on YouTube. You can find me on Twitter at Juice in the AM, Instagram also at Juice in the AM, and Thomas and I will take a picture, post it up there soon. And also,
you can lie to us and just tell us you want to. That you did listen to it, but you didn't.
Exactly.
Just lie. And it'll make us feel better.
Also, you can get the podcast anywhere that you get podcasts. So I've definitely done a lot of work on my website to basically shoot this out to every podcatcher that there is. So when it comes to iTunes, though, that's the most important one because that's the one where most people listen to their podcasts. Make sure you subscribe, rate, and review the podcast.
Do it!
Reviewing on iTunes, every little bit helps. Anytime you get a review and a rating, it can push you up the charts and become more noticeable. And the show, if we started making some money with this thing, this could get 10 times better.
I'm poor, everybody. I don't have any money. Nobody loves me.
It could definitely get better.
Improve Thomas's lifestyle,
with an income. And also, I'm working on getting Juice in the Morning t-shirts and also other merchandise. But I'm also working on figuring out how all that stuff works. So it might take a little bit of time. I'm also working on getting the logo trademarked. I've actually talked with a couple of people about that, so nobody tries to steal it. I don't think anybody is, but it's gonna. There's a lot of big things coming for the show. I think Thomas being in addition to it with being a producer and being on the show as well is going to be very helpful.
And I'm kind of sexy too.
And once again, thanks for listening to the podcast. It's time to get out of the juice box because it's hot as fucking here.
It is.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.
Juice in the morning.